Today, we're going to go on an incredible journey inside ourselves. We're going to zoom all the way in to see the tiniest building blocks of life, and then we're going to zoom all the way back out to see the powerful systems that keep every single one of us going. All right, to kick things off, let's start with a really simple question, but a deep one too. What are you, really made of?
And the answer? It's the cell. I mean, it's the smallest possible unit of life, the absolute starting point for everything. We have trillions of them, and every single one is like its own little universe. So let's zoom all the way in.
Okay, so let's really dive in, and I want you to stop thinking of a cell as just some, simple blob. Instead, I want you to picture it like a tiny, bustling factory. It's got all these specialized departments. We call them organelles, and they're all working together.
Right, so any good factory needs a boss, right? A control center that holds the master plan. Well, in the cell, that's the nucleus. It's kind of the big cheese, the largest part, and it holds all the genetic blueprints on these things called chromatin threads, and that's where our DNA lives. Hooked right up to the nucleus, you've got the main assembly line, the endoplasmic reticulum. Seriously, this thing is a huge network of membranes, and its whole job is to build and ship out proteins and fats. And you see those parts that look kind of bumpy? They're studded with these little things called ribosomes. That's the rough ER, and that's the actual machinery making the proteins. All right, so once all those proteins and fats are built, you gotta ship them out, right? That's where the Golgi apparatus comes in. Think of it as the cell's own personal post office or shipping department. It takes everything, packages it all up into these little bubbles called vesicles, and gets them ready for delivery. And this sorting process is absolutely crucial. I mean, if packages start going to the wrong places, it can cause some really serious problems for the whole body. And, just like any factory, this one makes a mess. It creates waste. So you need a cleanup crew. And that's the lysosome. It's basically a little bag filled with super powerful enzymes, and it acts like a digestive center, just breaking down all the old parts and junk. Seriously, without these guys, all that cellular garbage would just pile up, and that would lead to all kinds of cell damage and disease. Okay, so we've got this incredible self-contained factory, and it's just humming along. But none of this, not a single bit of it, can happen without power. A factory needs fuel to keep the lights on and keep those assembly lines moving. And where does that energy come from? It comes from the mitochondria. I'm sure you've heard these called the powerhouses of the cell, and it is the perfect description. Their whole gig is this process called cellular respiration, which is really just a fancy way of saying they take nutrients and convert them into energy that the cell can actually use. They keep the entire factory running. Okay, now here's where things get really wild. Let's scale this up. One of these tiny factories is amazing enough, right? But you have trillions of them. So how on earth does your body manage the logistics? How does it get fuel and supplies to every single one of those individual factories all at the same time?
Well, to answer that, we have to zoom way out. We've got to leave the microscopic world of the cell behind and look at the bigger picture. We need to see the body's massive internal superhighway, this incredible delivery network that supports every last one of those tiny factories. And the engine at the very core of that superhighway, it's the circulatory system. And it's all powered by this amazing machine, the heart. I mean, just look at it. It is a relentless, unbelievably powerful pump that just never stops, pushing blood through this huge network to make sure every single cell gets exactly what it needs. So this network, this superhighway, it's made of different kinds of roads. The two main types you've got are arteries and veins. Think of arteries as the major highways. They have these thick, muscular walls because they have to handle high-pressure blood that's being pumped away from the heart. Then you have the veins. They're more like the local roads with thinner walls and these clever little valves to help the low-pressure blood flow back towards the heart. Okay, so we've got the pump, the heart. We've got the pipes, the arteries and veins. So now let's talk about the precious cargo that's actually flowing through them. Blood, right? It's the ultimate delivery service, carrying oxygen, nutrients, the whole shebang. But what's really fascinating is that it also carries this complex identification system, like a biological code, that's absolutely vital for the whole network to work safely. And that code is your blood type. A, B, or O. And what determines your type really comes down to just two things. First, you've got these little markers on the surface of your red blood cells. They're called antigens. And second, you've got these defenders floating in your plasma called antibodies. So let's take a look at type O blood for a second. The cool thing about its red blood cells is that they have no antigens on their surface. None.
And what that means is they won't trigger an immune alarm in someone else's body. And that is why type O is known as the universal donor. It's the blood type that can be given to pretty much anyone in emergency, which is just incredible.
Now, on the complete flip side of that, you have type AB. These folks are called universal recipients. And why is that? Well, it's because their plasma, the liquid part of their blood, doesn't have any of those defender antibodies ready to attack incoming blood cells. So they can safely receive red blood cells from any other blood type without a problem.
So when you just step back for a second and take it all in, think about it. From the unbelievably complex, coordinated dance happening inside one single microscopic cell, all the way out to the raw, massive power of the heart that connects them all, you really start to realize that you are this walking, talking marvel of biological engineering. Isn't life just absolutely extraordinary?